Well, to Greenland, and the start of the year has seen a significant focus on territorial expansion ambitions of US President-elect Trump to buy the world's biggest island. Turns out, well, what some analysts had assumed was hubris or off-the-cuff ramblings from Donald Trump's first term in office is anything but. In a press conference this week at Mar-a-Lago, he told reporters it was vital for US security, and he said he would not rule out military force to take it. This is exactly what he said.
We need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time. You have approximately 45,000 people there. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security. That's for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world. You look at, you don't even need binoculars. You look outside, you have China ships all over the place. You have Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen. We're not letting it happen. And if Denmark wants to get to a conclusion, but nobody knows if they even have any right, title, or interest. The people are going to probably vote for independence or to come into the United States. But if they did do that, then I would tariff Denmark at a very high level.
Well, Greenland is 3,500 kilometres from here in Paris. The autonomous territory of the Kingdom of Denmark is famous for its icy fjords, but it's what's underneath the melting ice that is of increasing geostrategic importance to the world's major powers. It is triggering a literal gold rush to get access to the metal, and not only that, other key minerals, copper, zinc, nickel and iron, the stuff you need for renewable energy. It also has the Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights. And when Trump Force One landed in the capital, Nuuk, on Tuesday this week, well, that apparently was the principal reason that Don Jr. was visiting. Tourism, he said.
We're just here as tourists, looking at it.
Well, could you tell a little about the American interest in Greenland? There's been
so that's not for me to talk about. That's for others to talk about. But thank you guys. We're just excited to be here. Thank you guys.
Well, a good way to start to understand the strategic position of Greenland and the Arctic is to look at the world top to bottom and see the coastlines of the neighbours around the territory. And if you look here, more than half the coastline is Russian. Then there's land belonging to Finland, Norway, Canada, parts of Sweden, Iceland too, and the US via Alaska. And you can see the size and scale of Greenland on the map. Well, today we're hearing that Denmark has sent a private message to Trump's team expressing a willingness to discuss or boost security, increasing the US presence there. Let's go to Nuuk and get a Greenlander perspective. Kuno Fencker is a member of the Greenland Parliament for the governing coalition. Great to have you on the programme. Kuno, first of all, just set out how you found this week the rhetoric from Donald Trump, and whether you've seen a change. Was it one point where this wasn't taken so seriously, and it very much is now?
Well, in 2019, when he first made his proposal, all the action was in Denmark, Copenhagen, which is, maybe understandable when you know that Denmark literally has the sovereignty of Greenland. But what is important here is that Greenland wants to use their right to self-determination to becoming a sovereign state, and that is non-negotiable. What is the good thing right now is that we have a lot of reporters here in Greenland. Many news media are contacting the parliamentarians of Greenland and even also our government. So that is the change, and that is a very positive thing in my view in regards to marketing Greenland as a tourist destination also. And we just opened a new airport in Nuuk that can accommodate bigger airplanes. And that should be one of the possibilities to diversify our economy for more tourism and other aspects of critical minerals, oil and gas, and it could be server farms for AI servers, and all kinds of stuff are possible here in Greenland, also green energy nonetheless.
So actually, in your view, am I right to say this is kind of a trigger moment where you can actually get a good energy out of this? You can seize the moment. You've talked about tourism. I think I'm right to say you're a pro-independence campaigner as well. So for what Donald Trump has done, be it not necessarily his objective, could fit more smoothly into yours, perhaps?
Well, the United States halfway liberated us during the World War II when Denmark surrendered to the Germans. And it made us see the rest of the world instead of being isolated here in this island. Maybe this bold move could mean that Greenland becomes the sovereign state that we want and make our own decisions on who we could cooperate with. And, you know, Denmark annexed this island in 1953. So Denmark is not that much better, and maybe they have made a precedent by selling the Virgin Islands to the US back then. So, you know, it's very, very important for the North American continent and for the United States to secure this island in regards to the equipment that we have here. And also, what is most important for me is securing the civil population here in Greenland in regards to eventual unrest here around this hemisphere.
Very interesting. Now, also interesting to hear you talk about Copenhagen and the government in Denmark. So I'm right to say I think Greenland receives something like a fifth of its GDP every year from Copenhagen, also the judiciary defence organised from Denmark. Let's have a listen to Mette Frederiksen, the Prime Minister, Statsminister, who was talking about, well, how she was dealing with Donald Trump, and she appeared to put a positive face on it.
USA vores tætteste og nærmeste allierede.
The United States is our closest ally, and on our side, we will do everything we can to continue to have close cooperation. We must stand together as Europeans, and we must stand together as transatlantic. Therefore, it is also positive with a growing American interest in Greenland. It is an interest that is growing, but it is also an interest that is by no means new. The American military has been for many years present in Greenland, including on the US base in northwestern Greenland, which for many reasons has an important strategic importance. It is regulated back in the agreement from 1951. It is an agreement that opens up opportunities for further cooperation.
Yderligere samarbejde.
So we've got Kuno Mette Frederiksen putting front foot forward, and we're hearing about a private letter sent to Trump's team. And yet, I'd be interested in your reaction, because I believe that you would actually rather Mette Frederiksen was not involved. This was Greenland and Donald Trump talking.
Yes, I agree with that. You know, the conversations in regards to our country shouldn't go through middlemen. And Denmark has annexed us, and they have the prerogative in regards to foreign politics and defense through their constitution, which we haven't had a referendum on in Greenland. They could have done it. They could have done this democratically. That's why we want our independence and also statehood, so that we can negotiate and even give out some of our sovereignty to even Denmark and the United States in regards to defense, security, and other means of economy and cooperation for business. So, you know, Denmark shouldn't threaten us. They have done that before. Every time we want the independence by, you know, we will take out the block grant. You will not be able to use our health system in Denmark or education system. You know, it's a little bit hypocrisy if you can say that when Donald Trump has a remark just slightly, and then everyone is jumping up and thinks that they are being threatened. I don't see it as a threat to Denmark or Greenland, but I see it as an urgency call to up their ante in regards to the defense and security of this North American continent.
Well, you're keeping a very cool head, because I guess when Donald Trump talks about not ruling out military force, I think that certainly gets the hackles up on a number of Danish and Greenlandic politicians. Let me also ask you, Kuno, just to put this into perspective, because if you look at the wider Arctic and you zone into US interests, one of the interests, one of the concerns is Russian, as well as we've talked about the minerals and the melting ice, but also right of passage, not just for Russia, but for China too. I think China's been doing the metrics, looking at getting into Europe via Sharm el-Sheikh, via the Suez Canal in about 37 days, according to reports, according to The Economist. If it went through the Arctic route, it would take around 23 days, depending on the weather. So there's routes at stake. And if the US only has Alaska, well, Greenland you can see why it would be advantage. But you're saying right now you don't believe there's anything more than talk from Trump, that perhaps that's not his ultimate goal.
I don't see it as an annexation goal. It's about security, and it's about securing the North American continent. And what we need to do here is, of course, the melting ice. So we have to utilize the Law of the Sea Convention and also the right of the indigenous people and icy waters to secure the area of Greenland, like Russia does with their Arctic area, so Arctic Sea Route. So we have to do that here, but we need a lot of more equipment to do that if that should be viable.
If you had Donald Trump landing, he may well, once he becomes president in just a few days, what would you say to him?
It's not my right. I'm a parliamentarian, but it should be the government of Greenland, our prime minister, that should have the talks with him. And I think that we can, of course, invite Denmark to attend this, but I don't think that Denmark still should have the prerogative or the higher power to talk with other countries. We want to talk with other countries ourselves.
Great to talk to you, Kuno. Just a very brief word, because you mentioned the actually grabbing onto a moment of tourism. It's a hard country to get to often. It's certainly when, I don't know how many hours of light you've got at the moment. Light is always an issue in Greenland, despite its incredible beauty. You know, have a minute or so to sell what it is about Greenland that you would want tourists to come to, that we hear very little about.
Yeah, we are building 3 new civil airports directly in conjunction with our diversification in regards to tourism. There are a lot of possibilities, and it's not only cold. Right now, it's we have 4 hours of light here, but in the North Greenland, it just started to get a little bit lighter. But it's a big island, so there's a lot of possibilities for outdoor experience, restaurants, and whatever you can have as aspiration as a tourist here. So we are looking much forward to the new airport, because Donald Trump Jr. just proved it. They flew from Florida directly to Nuuk, and that is just proof that we are mostly open for business, and especially also tourism and other kinds of trade.
Especially if you're billionaires. Great to talk to you, Kuno. You're probably getting the same amount of light as we are here in Paris at the moment, about 4 hours. So, luxury. Great to talk to you. Kuno Fencker, the Greenland MP.